7.0, reconvene open session, procedural business, 5:30 p.m. 7.1, call to order. The Board of Trustees are hereby reconvening open session at 5:38 p.m. 7.2, roll call. Trustees to identify themselves by first and last name to formally establish quorum. Natalie Lindeman, Trustee Area 4.
Bill Mellinger, Trustee Area 1.
Dana Ridlin, Trustee Area 2.
Cindy Gardner, Trustee Area 3.
And Trustee Zarate is not able to join us today, but we do have quorum with 4 board members. 7.3, Pledge of Allegiance, led by Zachary.
Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
.0 closed session report. 8.1 announcement of reportable actions taken during closed session. None. 9.0 public testimony. 9.1 public comment period for items listed on this agenda and non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the governing board. The public comment period is administered by state law and is the point in the meeting set aside for members of the public to share their opinions with the board. Open meeting laws do not permit the board to engage in dialogue or answer questions. Though it may not take action on non-agenda issues raised at the public comment period, the board, for example, may refer any matter to the superintendent for review or take action to direct staff to place the matter of business on a future agenda. Protocols for speakers. Any person who wishes to address the governing board on agenda and non-agenda items within the subject matter of their jurisdiction must complete a green speakers form and submit it to the executive secretary of the superintendent before the meeting is called to order. They were instructed to email the secretary of the superintendent. Individual speakers are allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda item. The board limits the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Speakers who have complaints against board members or staff are encouraged to seek resolution to those complaints by using the Rim of the World Unified School District written complaint procedure rather than orally addressing them at a meeting. The board will not respond to such complaints until the applicable complaint procedure BP/AR 1312.1 has been followed and has reached the board level. Where a complaint concerns a district employee identifiable by name, position, or other facts, the board cannot respond until proper written notice has been given to the employee pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. Decorum. The governing board is interested in the ideas and opinions of all stakeholders and endeavors to incorporate community views into its deliberations and decisions. At the same time, it must be able to conduct its business in an organized fashion, in an organized and efficient manner, free from material disruption. Therefore, in accordance with Board Bylaw 9323 and Government Code Section 54957.9, audience members may not disrupt, disturb, or otherwise impede the orderly conduct of this meeting. Open meeting laws do not confer any privilege or protection for expression beyond that otherwise provided by law. The public's understanding and cooperation are appreciated. 9.2, public comments. Ms. Ridlin is going to be announcing the public comment presenters. And again, each presenter will get 3 minutes, at which time their video is going to be shut off. So if everybody can respect that 3-minute guideline, we don't want to have to cut you off, but it's part of our policy. So the video will be turned off after those 3 minutes. Ms. Ridlin?
It looks like she's frozen.
Sorry, had to unmute myself. So first up, oh no, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
No, can you hear me?
yes. it's
Okay.
cutting in and out.
So let's try. Okay, so first up is Bradley Jablonski, representing parent of students. Topic: mandates, masks, shots, critical race theory, equity, inclusion, diversity, gender theory, pronouns. Oh, so gender theory and pronouns.
He is not in the Zoom link that he was given at this time. So you need to call the second speaker.
Okay. The next, second up is Priscilla Williams, representing Rim of the World Foundation. And topic is our Rim of the World Education Foundation partnership with school grounds.
It's connecting.
We are going to be patient as these attempt to connect. I know there's internet and electricity issues throughout the mountain because of weather today. So give it a few more minutes to see if we could get it working.
Priscilla is on the Zoom. Priscilla, you have 3 minutes. It does not show that she is muted. Connecting to audio. It does not look like she's able to connect to audio. Though it just says, it's just spinning there.
Mark, can we go to number 3 and see if later on Priscilla's audio decides to work for her? Oh, Priscilla, can you hear us? Priscilla?
Priscilla, can you hear us? It's your turn to speak. You have 3 minutes. It doesn't seem to be any indication that she can hear us or that she can connect to audio. It still shows unconnected and it's just her face. So I don't know.
All right. Cindy, or excuse me, Jordana, do you want to go ahead and move to announce number 3 and see if Mark's able to connect us to number 3?
There are only the 2 speakers.
All right.
So there's only 2 people with public comment. So you can move on to 9.3.
All right. That's unfortunate. Mark, would you remove Priscilla from the room then, please? Thank you. So moving on to 9.3, RTA and CSEA representatives. Do we have anybody from RTA?
Yes. RTA president is with us, Nangazi.
Hi, Nangazi.
Hi. I hope everyone is doing well tonight and staying warm. Well, let me just get started. Dear RIM School Board members, teachers who love teaching, teach children to love learning. Good quote by Robert Meehan, an educator himself. At the moment, unfortunately, teachers are at an all-time low when it comes to morale. To say that they don't love teaching would be inaccurate, but to say that they are exhausted, overwhelmed, and feeling like it is May instead of October or even December would be more accurate. When teachers are stressed out, the quality of their instruction, the classroom management, their relationships with anyone, especially their students, suffer. Students tend to be more stressed when their teachers are, which negatively affects their academic performance and engagement. When teachers are tasked and concerned with learning loss, catching up their students academically, which is even more difficult with covering additional classes and policing mask mandates. Due to short staffing, teachers are all hands on deck, taking roles of security guards, healthcare workers, instructional aides, custodians, social workers. We deal with angry parents. We deal with the social media, the politicization of mask mandates. Our itinerants, our counselors, and TOSAs are being pulled from their regular duties to cover these absences, these holes that we have all throughout the district. This creates a system of work piling up and stress for everyone. The students lose out on first the best instruction in this scenario. Yet we all still have the same responsibilities and expectations of meetings, professional developments, assessments, reports, committees, and on and on. And on top of all this is the very real fear for the health and safety of themselves and their families. The expectations for teachers have been raised in a time of crisis. Having to give up academic planning to cover additional tasks undoubtedly contributes to teacher burnout. Amid staffing shortages, teachers don't have the time for self-care that we desperately need. RIM teachers and certificated staff care and take on the extra work for the good of our students, but there's just too much. RIM employees are demoralized, exhausted, and desperate for relief. These are difficult and unprecedented times, and teachers continue to support this district in every way that they can. They have definitely gone above the call of duty, and we created a proposal that asks nothing more than the recognition of the increase of the cost of living, so that we can attract and retain some of the quality educators that live around and within our communities. Please take the time, school board, to consider our proposal so we can make sure that our certificated staff and just everyone in general, classified as well, make sure that they are well taken care of, well appreciated, and supported. Thank you.
Thank you, Nangazi. CSEA, do we have a representative?
None at this time.
10.0 governing board members reports and announcement. 10.1 governing board members. I'll ask that Jordana begins.
Okay, I'm going to make mine short. Worried about weather and power and internet connectivity. So very quickly this morning, I thoroughly enjoyed the VOE kindergarten holiday performance. It was delightful. And I was so amazed by how all of the students sang and participated. And you know, to Nangazi's point, I know that the TK teachers worked hard to be able to get the kids to this point, and it was just beautiful. It was wonderful. Even within a stormy day, the kids just brought it, and the teachers, I just appreciated it all. It was wonderful. Also got great news from Christine Rozak, who is a retired science teacher from the high school, she and I have been working together to get Scott's Lodge going after its hiatus for a couple of years. And kids have been going in, but high school students both yesterday and today have been able to take advantage of Scott's Lodge, and apparently today especially. Very appropriately, a lot of inventory was depleted with students grabbing what they need. So thrilled to have that up and running. So I wish to wish both Connie Santa Cruz and Todd Beal well in their future endeavors. I'm sad that we're not able to meet face to face with this last board meeting, but I have great appreciation for all that they've done for me, for us. And I wish everybody else who might be on board, I wish them happy holidays, and hopefully they stay safe, warm, and spend time with loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordana. Cindy?
I also want to thank Connie and Todd for all their service to our district, for keeping us in line, for making sure we didn't go off the rails, even though sometimes we tangent. Well, I tangent a lot, so thank you for keeping those rails together. And thank you, Connie, especially for staying on top of the board policy, just because I remember when we had years to catch up of policy, and there was literally 6 weeks worth of work to do. So I appreciate the fact that somebody kept on top of it, of the notifications from CSBA, and brought them to the board for approval. So thank you, thank you, thank you. As for, I just want to thank publicly Julie Scorzel for the help that she's been given our students at the high school during the college help class in Scotts University. She's a RIM grad. She's paying it forward to our students by helping them with the college admissions process, their essays, and their applications. So we have a real jewel of a resource in our community that's willing to give back to our students. We all went to the CSBA conference. We're not going to get into details because we're doing a workshop on that. And I did attend the delegate assembly. And with that, we had lots of information on legislation, on different court cases affecting education. We changed some aspects of the bylaws. That was many hours of work. That was interesting. And really, really excited. I'll give a full report on that when we do our workshop. And then I do want to wish everybody happy holidays. I know that hopefully this year you're able to get together with your families because last year we probably didn't. And so I just wish everybody happy holidays, and hopefully 2022, I shouldn't even say it, forget it, zip, not going to say it, not going to say anything about 2022. Let's just leave it at that. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Cindy. Bill?
Let's see. So as Cindy mentioned, we did attend the CSBA conference, and I have always wanted to be a lifelong learner, and I continue to be a lifelong learner and continue to learn new things. And I appreciate the education that I can continue to get. I had the privilege, missed the kindergarten presentation this morning because of other challenges that we're all, we are all in a COVID worn out world. And it is affecting everybody. I don't know a person who's not worn out, exhausted by what they're doing, whether it's a teacher, a certified, classified, administrators, firefighters, police officers, the people at my coffee shop. It's just right and left. People are worn out, and the challenges are many. And I guess I would want to just say thank you, and hopefully that people can hear that it's really from our hearts that we appreciate you, that we appreciate the people in our lives that are working hard, that are giving so much extra all across the board in so many ways across this country. I also wanted to note that we have a couple of clubs that are looking at giving some support to Scott's Lodge, the local Lions Club, the local Rotary Club. And so hopefully we'll be giving maybe some more resources. I look forward to the supplies being depleted there. So keep it up, Jordana. And I would say also, Connie, you've helped me become a board member, and you have personally blessed my life during this time. I appreciate you. Todd, I'm just so mad at you for leaving. I don't know. Seriously speaking, I value the role that you have had in this district, and wish you all the best as you move forward. And you truly are a gem, and I appreciate you. To everyone, Merry Christmas. To those who have just finished Hanukkah, Shalom. And may we all continue to work for the best of this community and this school district. And I know that every one of you is doing that. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Bill. For myself, I'm going to start off with Connie and Todd. Though your jobs are being filled, you guys are not replaceable. I know from the board, from Michelle, the people that work intimately with you all of the time, there's no way to describe what an impact you guys have, what a wealth of knowledge you are, how much you are able to guide us and lead us, get us answers. I've never had a question that I didn't get answered immediately. You will spend the time to research and find it out and get the answer for me. And I will miss you both as humans. And it's going to be hard felt on us when we have other people in your positions. So I trust they'll do a wonderful job in time. Your guys' just experience means a whole lot to us and made our jobs a lot easier. So thank you, and you'll be missed a lot. And, to echo what Bill was saying, please know, teachers and staff, everyone in the district, that you are heard, you are seen, we acknowledge how hard this is for all of us, for the students as well. And a lot of responsibilities that are new and pressures that weren't anticipated are being placed on everyone in the district, everyone in the world. Like, we were not expecting, we did not know how to deal with a crisis like COVID is. And I have seen a lot of willingness within our district to suit up and just do what has to be done to keep us moving forward. And I know that takes a great deal of personal energy and digging really deep and having that grit to keep showing up and doing the best for our students. So I definitely appreciate that. I do look forward to us being able to talk about our CSBA conference, because that's always a great experience of learning for us and of bonding with fellow board members and those who attend. And just a final note would be, I want to wish everyone a wonderful winter break. Any holidays that you might celebrate, please enjoy them. Healthy, happy, safe New Year. So that being said, that closes our board members' reports. 10.2, Superintendent, Mrs. Murphy.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'll start off with some informational items. One is we are in this meeting tonight via Zoom because of the snow accumulation. We are anticipating temperatures in the 20s tomorrow morning, about the time that our buses would be on the road. Mr. Malone, Jen Cawell, and I have been working together, and we will be calling a snow day for tomorrow. So that announcement will go out this evening. We're worried about the icy road conditions and snow removal in the morning. So just so folks that are listening know, we could have no snow in Crestline and 5 feet of snow in Running Springs. And if that's were the case, we would call a snow day for the entire district. We cannot call a snow day for one site. So in anticipation of the temperature is called for 23 degrees tomorrow morning. And I've been told it's still snowing up there. So we will be calling a snow day for tomorrow, and the announcement will go out before 8 p.m. So I just wanted you to reminders on how that is called. You got a parent square message, everyone did last week. with those directions that are on our website, so that if you need to know how that works and how that happens, usually we're up at about 3:30 in the morning. So we're going to call it early this evening. I would like to recognize Todd and Connie. And it's hard not to get emotional because they're my right-hand people. But I just thank you for your service to me and all that you've done for the district. And Connie, I wish you the best in retirement. And Todd, I wish you the best in your new district. You'll be missed. And thank you for spending the 5 years here with me. With that being said, I did want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. I hope everyone enjoys their break and gets the well-deserved rest that everyone needs, so we can tackle the second half of the school year together. And I appreciate about RIN is that we all work together to do good things for kids and to move forward. So we're all just conquering those things together. The governor did issue a new mandate today. It is till January 15th, I believe, that masking needs to be indoors at all times, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. Schools are already following those procedures, so that will be new for businesses. And then I'm going to give a little bit of my time over to Todd this evening. He's going to do some recognitions for people that are retiring mid-year. So Mr. Beal, it's your chance to address the community one more time.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It's always kind of the fun part of my job is looking at some of the retirement aspects. I know this is very exciting for a lot of people, but I've been in personnel for 7 years. Again, I've always enjoyed having discussions with those contemplating or deciding on retiring. During discussions, I believe it's often the body language and the facial expressions when we talk about that. It's you can see the feelings of emotions bubbling up inside. It's relief, fear, confusion, awareness, and yes, there's excitement that goes along with it. And through our discussions, I've noticed that even for those that say they are ready, there is a sense of nostalgia. Retirement is a major milestone in a person's life, a time to reflect on all the amazing moments that made up a career. As author A.A. Milne once wrote, "How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard." Our distinguished employees have put in many years of their lives to a career in which they have affected so many. A career in education provides an opportunity no other career can, an ability to help mold the futures of the next generation, and by their influence, many generations afterwards. So while we can't meet in person, we always have a nice little plaque for our retirees, but I do want to recognize our 8 mid-year retirees they'll be going for this year. And so our first one is Jo Hubbs. She was security over at the high school. She spent 32 years with us in RIM. So that's actually a pretty good career going on right there. Also Stacy Stenzel, who was over at the high school, 24 years with our district. Mike Burgess, also at the high school, 31 years with our district. So we can already see in these first 3, they spent a lot of time within our district, which is fantastic and what they can give to our students. Joanne Morris, 31 years as a teacher. Laura Miller, 25 years as a teacher in speech. Gina Hartwell, who's in Ed Services at Admin Secretary, Administrative Assistant, is leaving us after 16 years. And I got to do this in tandem because not often you get a husband and wife that go in one shot. And so we have Richard Santa Cruz over at the high school, 17 years. And his wonderful wife, who we've mentioned before, who's done an amazing job with us in the district, supporting the superintendent, the board, and really all of us in the district. So I do want to thank you, Connie, for everything you've done in keeping us going. And with that, she will be retiring with us after 26 years in our district. So congratulations to everybody. Thank you for serving our district as well as you have. It's been fantastic. And I do, probably on behalf of the Board of Superintendent, wish you very well in the exciting moments coming up shortly. So thank you.
Thank you, Todd and Michelle. 10.3 Student Representative Report, Zachary Lawrence, Rim of the World High School.
Hey guys, sorry, we have some rolling thunder up here in Springs and it's coming down pretty hard right now. So sorry if there is any background noise. And before I get started with my presentation, as Trustee Gardner said earlier, I also want to thank not only Trustee Gardner, but Ms. Gorzel and Ms. Erlinger for helping with the college admissions process with those classes with the high school juniors and seniors. It was really beneficial and definitely, I feel, gave at least myself and some of my peers a nice step up towards the college admissions process. And so I'm trying to share my screen with you guys. It says the host has disabled screen sharing.
I don't believe that you're going to be able to do screen share.
I just enabled it.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. All right. All right, everything working good? All right. So here is the RIM Schools presentation for December 14th. We're going to begin with the elementary schools. Some Rotary clubs on the mountain gifted the 3rd and 4th grade students dictionaries as well as the sources to the 5th graders. And the classes at all of the campuses are currently learning about various winter traditions across various cultures. So for both then and now. And then we also have the site leadership teams developing their site implementation and their plan, which is the cycled inquiry for the process for the drivers of the education for the students, as well as the Fa La 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 Spirit Week, which is currently happening at all of the campuses. Looks like there's a lot of holiday spirit going on at the elementary schools. And for, that's the wrong one. All right, for MPH, here we are. So we have the Novak education for the LCAP and the Mph goals under student learning instruction and professional development. They are focusing this month on department specific information to help support all of the students with access to all of their curriculums. And their goal number 2 is the safe and positive school culture and climate relating to their PBIS and their Lion Loop systems, which is at an all-time high. As you can see here in the images on the right, we did have the MPH principal, Ms. Whiteside, running the mile for one of these students. That is one of the many things that the MPH students can buy with their Lion Loop, which is earned from teachers and staff members at MPH, awarding that to students for following the PBIS guidelines. The MPH school safety met in the beginning of December to review and approve new MPH school safety plans, as well as MPH did just have their first anti-bullying and harassment committee meeting yesterday with parents and staff. And then, sorry. For their goal number 3, the equity and engagement, the SSC met on December 8th to review and approve revisions to the SPSA and MPH school safety plans, as well as the RIM secondary administrators. So that is Ms. Berg, Mr. Nygren, and Ms. Whiteside met with Dr. White today to discuss equity, and they do have meetings scheduled next month to meet with students on the topic of equity and creating a more positive school environment. For Rim of the World High School, we did have our avid coach Kyle coming in and walking around campus last month. He did have lots of great things to say about RIM, including our first bullet point here, definitely following the PBIS guidelines and seeing those implemented and being followed with most of the students on the campus. There was, as you mentioned, a general sense of calm and safety on campus. So just, students feeling well, feeling safe while they were at school. And I do know that, like I've said at previous meetings, there is definitely serious teacher burnout happening right now. And it is I find it very comforting to see the avid coach did say that the teachers are valuing their students and have strong and healthy relationships with the students. And like I said, at our last meeting, the teachers are here for us, we're here for our teachers. So anyway, we can help each other out. We're always there for you guys. And the site administration is professional, student-centered, and knowledgeable, as well as self-reflective, which also applies with the last bullet point here. There are a few areas of focus and possible suggestions that he left that will be shared with the site leadership team going into the new year, as well as Rim will continue to be working with Kyle as well as other Avid representatives throughout the future of the high school, just for as long as we possibly can. The new LED scoreboards are being installed over break in the new gym. Very exciting about that one. I know the students are really excited to hear about that. We have a family movie night on the 16th in the PAC. We are showing Home Alone for anyone interested in coming. We do have the flyer here. It is $3 per person or a $12 family pack. And we do have finals coming up this week, beginning, with our snow day tomorrow, beginning on Thursday and Friday. We will be having our final days with block schedule and minimum days at the high school. And we did recently have a marching band competition on Saturday. Rim High School as a whole placed 3rd overall in a competition of over 100 different bands, a lot of them far larger than the Rim band. So it's really, really an incredible feat that they were able to bring home the trophy for that one. And also our drum major, Alex De Leon, he earned his personal best score in 80.6 and was able to take home a trophy for that as well. And we, Ms. Burke and myself and the other students would like to congratulate our marching band team and Alexander on their accomplishments this year in their in the band. For the Eagle highlights at Mountain High, they are just finishing up their 3rd grading period, and that closes this coming Friday with the semester. And they are beginning a new PLC cycle, monitoring kids as a staff and making extra connection to encourage the students at the continuation school to graduate. And they have a student graduation during the 2nd grading period in November, and then they should have 2 more this week before the end of the semester. They had a couple new ramps installed over Thanksgiving break into some of the classrooms. So they are repaired. All the buildings are accessible now, and all of the issue concerns have been addressed and have been corrected. They have a holiday activity with their home choice little buddies in kindergarten through 3rd grades that is happening on campus this week with Mrs. Lewis's class. And after the success of last month's Thanksgiving activity, they expect to have a lot of success with this month's activity as well. And they are working with a consultant at the continuation school to bring about a lot of changes in the next couple of years at Mountain High. And as Mr. Nygren said at the last board meeting, they were able to contribute 3 Thanksgiving meals to families in need in our community. And lastly, we have the virtual academy. All right, so the virtual academy for December, they did lose a few students in the elementary grades. So they will be working on that and processing more students through the wait list to fill those recently vacant spots in the virtual academy. And there is the new independent study law. So all of the students who are not performing satisfactorily in the 7th through 12th grade levels will be moving into a in-person instruction as opposed to the virtual academy. They have also brought on board 3 new special education teachers for the program who will be modifying assignments in order to kind of help bridge the gap in between the in-person instruction and the virtual instruction. And they will be having a mascot contest in January so that the parents and the students can all contribute into deciding who the virtual academy's mascot is going to be. And that does conclude my presentation. Before I sign off, I did just want to let all of the trustees and Superintendent Murphy know I do have an email that I will be sending out to you guys, hopefully by the end of the week. So please just keep an eye out for that one. And I would like to wish everyone happy holidays and a happy new year. And I look forward to seeing you guys in January. Stay warm.
Thank you, Zach. 11.0 reports and presentations. 11.1 finance and facilities, budget and enrollment report. Jenny Hammerland, Chief Business Official.
Hi, thank you very much. Let me just share my screen also here. Okay. Alrighty, it's that time of year where we are certifying our current financial position and bringing forward for approval later on the agenda our first interim financial report. So I have a lot of information for you, but I will also just go over it really quickly. Some of it you can just review and ask questions later. I have a couple draft reports in your board shared folder of a financial snapshot and a per ADA graph of how the COLA works. So over the next 2 years. So you can look in your board folder for that, as well as a more detailed multi-year projection as I just presented a summary in my PowerPoint tonight. Okay, so we're going to review enrollment, attendance, financial activity, various financial assumptions, multi-year projections, and look at our revised budget. By statute, the governing board must certify this data by December 15th. That's why we have a Tuesday board meeting this month, and that's per ed code. There are 3 types of qualifications and certifications. We are submitting a positive certification. We could qualify to negative if you won't meet your fiscal obligations in the 2 subsequent years, or even in the next negative would be in the current or the second fiscal year, not meeting your financial obligations. Okay, ties into our district goal, or our board goal, number 6, budget and infrastructure. Okay, so we start with looking at a snapshot of our enrollment. We just concluded month 4, and this Friday concludes month 5 and will be reported to you in January. We currently have 2,868 students. I'm just going to catch up here. We lost about 14 students district-wide over the last month, and we're down 60 students from this time last year. Our corresponding ADA is 2,590.82. And that is an overall 90% attendance rate for our district. And what we're seeing is RIM is not alone. Most of the districts in California are dealing with excessive absences, largely due to burnout, quarantines, flus, people sick themselves, or just the fear of not wanting to go to school. So we're hoping that the legislator in the January proposal will give some hold harmless in some fashion, so give the district some relief of that revenue loss based on a low attendance rate. And we've talked about that previously in board meetings. Okay, our Strive, we still have a Strive for 95 campaign, even though we know that with COVID, it might be unattainable. But RIM Virtual Academy is the highest at 96.91. I would assume that they would probably be our highest moving forward, since they are able to conduct their classes with or without, not actually having to attend a campus. So of our in-person learning, Hoffman is at 93.77, which is really good for what districts are seeing right now. Okay, so just people usually ask, well, how much does one day bring for money? What does that one absence mean? So on a base grant level, which is because the students are funded at different grade spans and depending on if they're part of the unduplicated count, roughly $50, you can see that base amount per day. Now, if a student was in every category, we could get $60.48 per student. So when you're looking at cumulative absences, it does add up. We looked at this graph before. I'm moving quickly, so please, I want to be aware of possibility of losing power myself. So too, I know it's flickered on me a little bit. So I'll try to go quickly. So please stop me if I'm moving too fast. But we do, if we go back to pre-COVID, when we were looking at just getting to that 95% attendance rate versus a 92 or a 93, you can see that going up to a 95% rate brings us almost $500,000. You can see that the 474, 727. But I added to this graph what's happening with going actually below, being at, I think last month we were at 89%, 90 and 91. And that is compared to, that's revenue loss compared to maintaining a 93.72, which is what we had budgeted. So you can see where if we don't obtain some hold harmless relief by the governor, RIM and many districts like us will, this will impact next year's funding. I wanted to give just a table of our assumptions and our current enrollment, and what for planning purposes we use projected enrollment not only for staffing but also to calculate projected revenue. So Todd and I meet and we need to look at these numbers on a grade by grade, school by school basis to plan staffing and any potential layoffs or actually hiring needs, but then also to calculate our revenue. So you can see that we have our enrollment, actual ADA and funded ADA. And you can see in the 2022-23, it's the same number. And that is because in 2022-23, we're actually going to be funded on the current year, because if we, of the anticipated 90% attendance rate, that the projected ADA for 22-23 is actually higher than this year, even with a decline in students. And so moving forward with it, that will be a calculation that will change if there's hold harmless language enacted. But then going to 23-24, assuming a further enrollment decline, we're back on the prior year guarantee, and the funding is based on the prior year moving forward. Okay, this is a snapshot of our LCFF and the changes from 2019-20 moving forward, projecting to 24-25. You can see in 19-20 that was, really funding wise, we did not have an impact of COVID for our LCFF revenue. Moving into 2021, we were funded on 19-20. We would have been anyway, even though the governor had hold harmless language. And because we recorded the same amount of ADA, it also became our ADA for the 21-22. Moving into, everyone's been talking about, well, the financial cliff, the ADA cliff, what does that really mean? So going into 22-23, we're seeing the full impact of being funded on the actual kids that were in our district in the 21-20 school year and the actual attendance that they generated for us. So you can, without any hold harmless language, because we're recognizing all of that in 1 year now, because of how the previously hold harmless language has worked, we're seeing that lost revenue all in 1 year. So you see in EdSource, probably any financial meeting or any school board meeting you go to, they talk about the ADA cliff and the financial cliff. And so that is, if things remain the same as they are now, that would be the financial impact of lost LCFF revenue going into 22-23. You'll see a little bit of a bump up in 23-24 because we'll have ADA growth just based on the ADA rate being so low this year. And then again, 24-25, kind of that continuing funding on a declining enrollment projection. So I'll stop here if anyone has any questions, because that was a big number. If not, I'll move forward. Okay.
Just
All right.
Jenny, in the SANDABS meeting, when Kevin Gordon was giving his report from Capital Advisors, there is a lot of interest in that whole declining enrollment and loss of ADA due to kids just not being in school. And so the big discussion is, what does that look like? Is it a 3-year rolling average? However, your big hit year, your big hit to ADA year is included in that 3-year rolling average, or do you just go back to your 2019, 2020 so that you don't have that big hit year? So there's like debate on what does that actually look like. So
we had someone from FCMAT speak at one of our meetings, and basically they said, at some point we have to look at what's reality and how many students are in our schools and how are we funding. At some year, we're going to, we're going to feel the financial consequence of this, unless they either fund on enrollment. We both have heard that, and not ADA. The 3-year rolling average, and if you maintain that 3-year rolling average, then a one really bad year is in your average for 3 years.
Exactly.
So, and so that really doesn't do you much good going forward unless you funded 22-23 on a prior year 3-year rolling average, which was recently talked about in a meeting I went to, and then maybe moving forward a 3-year rolling average, where there's a kind of an exception made for the 22-23 school year, because that's where all the districts are going to feel it the worst.
It's going to be an interesting conversation to see how this is being discussed in Sacramento and how it finally plays out, because every school district, you're right, is having this hit. Fontana, they're 6% below what they budget for. And I think that's what Randy said. And so it's everybody is feeling the same pain.
I heard that also. And we're also, because of universal meals, I didn't do a slide on this, but it's the conversations are happening along with this, is because of the universal meals, everyone eating for free, which is a very good thing. And we love that for our community and our families. There's not an incentive as much for parents to fill out the income verification forms, but the income verification forms are used as a component of part of this funding. So without those forms completed, a district spoke last Friday when I was down at the county, and they went from 72% to 68% unduplicated count in 1 year because they can't get the forms turned in. So that's just another hit on, and there's not a lot of discussion, but I think they're going to start because we already know for at least next year, we're going to be in universal meals as well. What relief can they give for districts who may have trouble getting those forms completed by the parents? So there's always something, right? Okay, and we here's a history of our statutory and actually funded COLAs, and currently what the proposed COLAs are for 22, 23, 23, 24, and 24, 25. So you can see in the year 2021, we had a statutory COLA of 2.31, although that wasn't funded. So the district didn't obtain any funding for that 2.31 COLA. This year, the COLA is technically 1.7, but then the 2.31 and then a super, then the extra percent was added to a total 5.07 funded for this year. And that's why when you go back, if I go back a year, you see in 21-22 a greater amount of revenue, because part of 2021's revenue, we received in this year's COLA. And then the proposed COLAs will get updated in January, then again in May, and then again in July. Okay, this is just a graph we included at every presentation of our CalSTRS and CalPERS. You know, the CalSTRS does plateau a little bit, and CalPERS slows down on the growth. And so another area of advocacy is that districts and are trying to, with the state surplus of funds and the additional funding that the state's realizing, is to give districts some relief and make a payment towards the CalSTRS and CalPERS. And if anything, just keep the rates the same. And so we can budget and not have that increase year after year in our multi-year projections. Okay, and this, you'll see it more detailed in your board folder, but this is our summary of our multi-year projections. And you can see what might be different this year than next is the amount of federal revenue. That's just increased by leaps and bounds, really, because of the restricted coronavirus funding that we're receiving, the ESSERS, the ELO. And so that number is very high compared to what it's ever been in the past. And I have a slide to give you an idea of what some of those programs are. We move forward a object view of our expenditures by major category, restricted and unrestricted. This year, what's a little different also is our total amount of our percentage of our budget being paid on salaries. You normally see this in the 0.68. That's in a regular year, that's closer to 85–90%. And it's because we have so much one-time funding going to things like supplies or budgeted for you know, PPE and different things that were kind of placeholders for COVID, that it's brought those percentages down a little bit. And that is a percentage that we have to stay, there's some ed code related to the percent of our budget that's paid on classroom activities versus the total. And so that's a percent that we monitor at each reporting period as well. Okay, so we're if everything stays the same, we're expected a positive ending fund balance at the end of the year. And moving forward into the next 2 subsequent years, positive ending balance. And our year 4 and our year 5 is where we are currently, everything staying the same without one-time funding or any additional expenditures. Our 4th and 5th year, which is very common and most districts are in the same boat we are in, are projecting negative ending fund balances. The next 2 graphs is just our graph of our budget as a whole. After your review, if you have any questions, you can please contact me. And you can see here just the federal revenue of 16 million. It's just a very, very large pot of money, almost overwhelming on just the amount of the restricted funds that districts are getting right now. And these are, although there are certain buckets of them are pretty relaxed in what they can be spent on. There is most of them are, the intent is to address issues we have due to the coronavirus pandemic, PPE, lost learning time, addressing socio-emotional needs, extra sections or FTEs for students and things like that. Okay. Another graph that's it doesn't really look like we used to call this one our alligator graph way back in the day. Doesn't really look too much like an alligator anymore because our expenditures are relatively steady each year. It's our revenues that are projected to decline, especially with continued declining enrollment and the low attendance rate. Okay, here's just a look at the major restricted revenues. And this is what makes up part of that 16 million. You can see we have a large amount of new and carryover in Title I. We have some expanded learning opportunities, a lot of ESSER funds. We have the expanded learning opportunities grant that's broken up into 6 mini grants. So you'll see ELO a lot in our budget. We have educator effectiveness, which is a new program. We have some new special ed funding that's new this year, and that some specific ELO grants for the paraprofessionals. And that's what we use to increase hours and some services by our paras. Okay.
I have a question. You mentioned a couple of these new programs. But we only are getting the ESSER funding once. It's not going to be an ongoing thing. So are we looking at having a budgetary hit in the future to keep those programs going?
Well, the assumption is that they wouldn't be going. So, there is no placeholder for the programs to be supplemented with unrestricted general fund. So as the state and federal funds, as they decline, us offering the programs will decline also. I mean, there could be, board decisions made if there's, things we want to keep, or, fund one program and not something else if it's successful, but no. So, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, at the risk of being redundant, the one-time restricted funds, what we can offset from the general fund, we will. However, those things are very limited and they aren't ongoing costs like salary.
Okay, so part of our financial projections and certifying our positive certification is what the county will do. They'll also look at our overall assumptions. What did we put in each of the 3 years? What ADA are we using? What's our staffing look like? Part of your first interim packet, there's a lot of supplemental pages behind the fund forms, and the county uses that to really get an idea on our fiscal solvency and if our assumptions seem appropriate moving forward. And they are currently, what ADA are we using? Are we calculating it based on current year or prior year? Have we reduced future state revenues and federal revenues by one-time funds? Have we reduced expenditures for those one-time funds? And in there, we have things like step and column increases for certificated and classified. We project a 5% health and welfare increase. That's our medical benefits. We have savings from retirements and savings from just a decline in staff based on enrollment losses. We have reduction of one-time expenditure budgets. We have an increase in STRS and PERS rates, and then we have some savings that are identified in the multi-year projections as well from prior year negotiated items. Okay, this is just a look of what makes up our current ending fund balance, and we do have some assigned items in there. We have the prior year sweep of Fund 14 and the forest reserves, 667, 611. We have the insurance payment we received from Grandview that we reserved and just safeguarded that. We have some carryover that was site-based, and the sites may spend that 42,000. We wanted to reserve it last year, and if they don't, that'll fall out to the just the bottom line. And then we are reserving our MA proceeds, and that's offsetting the nursing and health tech expenditures, because those do come in unrestricted. If I don't purposely restrict them, they will just fall into the bottom line. But a budget committee item a few years ago, we did make the commitment to hold our MA revenues to help offset general fund expenditures.
So Jenny, I have a question on the carryover to sites of $42,000. What resource code did that go to? The
Well,
1100?
Well, any site carryover that we've already distributed isn't part of that 140, that 42. We actually ended the year of around $180,000 of monies that we carried over for the sites that they, like an example would be in maintenance. They had some projects we budgeted for them. We had them in last year's budget, but they didn't get done until the summer. So then we had to put those funds aside and spend them in this year. So that 42, so everything that the sites were expecting for specific items were carried over, and there was just a few items that we weren't really sure, is the expenditure really going to come in? Are we going to get an invoice? That, you know, we're kind of waiting to see how things fall out still from the prior year.
Okay.
Okay, so next steps is we're going to still, we're going to monitor our enrollment and state mandates that could impact our district. We worried about the vaccine or masking mandates if they, you know, were to occur. What will the 22-23 enrollment look like? We're going to look forward to the January governor's workshop in January. And then that should be published on the 14th. I'm attending a conference on the 20th and the 21st, but I think the board, many of you are going to the school services conference on the 21st. We'll revise our multi-year assumptions as the situation changes, and we'll continue to collaborate with our employees on our funding scenarios for the current and the future fiscal years. Okay, and with that, do you have any questions?
Okay, I do. I always do. So, because I was looking in the PDF of child nutrition services, because, you know, I always have to ask Jenny, how are we doing on getting to that break-even point, so to speak?
Well, right now we are break even.
That's good.
Okay, so, but we're break even for two reasons. Number one, because being in the universal meal program,
Right.
we're funded at a higher level.
Exactly.
And we're able to offset some of the higher cost items with COVID money because of the supply chain issues that are directly related to COVID and what's happening this year. We are seeing costs increase 5, 16, 17, 25% in child nutrition. So, and then anything that we buy that's shelf stable in nature that we can be able to provide food for, that like to go home for a weekend, or for, like we're trying to get a, not trying, we are getting a food distribution on Thursday for our families, and a lot of that's shelf stable food. So all of those costs right now are being covered with COVID restricted dollars. And so I anticipate this year being at a break even, if not a surplus, and then going into next year, probably the same, because we'll be in universal meals again. And then depending on if we continue that, if the state doesn't continue universal meals and fund that on their own, we may be in a situation where we have to adopt what's called CEP, which is we're 100% free anyway because of how our numbers fall. We might be required to be universal meals anyway, although it's technically a different program, so it's not funded the same. So we'll just have to see how those years, how that moves forward. So, I mean, it looks like we're going to be free for everybody moving forward for the foreseeable future, just depending on what program we're placed in at the state to determine some funding levels.
Thanks.
But I'm anticipating break even, at least in the current budget cycle, and then in a subsequent future year.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jenny? Marvelous. Thank you, Jenny. 11.2, setting direction, review of the 2021 schedule for regular board meetings, workshops, and board retreat, Board of Trustees. Anybody have questions or comments on the board meetings, workshops, or retreat calendar? Five, four, three, two, one.
I just have one question for the superintendent, Michelle. For the workshop in January, where we report out on our CSBA stuff, because some of the workshops pertain to the student board member, that can we invite Zach to that workshop?
Yep.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Good addition, Cindy. I'll move on to 11.3, review of the 2021 governance calendar, Board of Trustees. Any comments, questions, or concerns about that from the board?
I just want to thank
Yes.
Connie for creating, I call this the cheat sheet from the big, huge piece of paper that has everything in it. So thanks, Connie, for, putting together the cheat sheet so it helps us stay on task. And when I talk about this with other people, they're like, what? You guys have this? I want to see it. So not everybody follows this detailed of a timeline. So it not only is it good for our cabinet to prepare for our meetings, but it's really good for us to know what's coming down the pike. So thanks, Connie, for staying on top of this and staying on the revisions.
Agreed. 11.4, legislative update report, Trustee Gardner.
Okay, so it's really brief again. There's nothing in your folder because the state legislation is not back in session until January after the holidays. So like Jenny has said, we're waiting for Governor Newsom's budget proposal. The state Senate has validated the legal analyst office's numbers, and they are projecting a $31 billion surplus. However, just putting a caveat, that could change by the May revise. They are thinking that there is going to be a range on that surplus due to the current open job market positions being filled and such. So they're seeing continued growth. However, there is a big feeling in the state legislation of restraint and budget stability and buying down debt. So that surplus, where that ends up being placed in the governor's position budget, is going to be interesting. If that is the feeling of, we want to be restrained a little, we want to create some stability, buy down debt. What does that mean? And for us, what does that mean look like for education? Is it going to be where Governor Newsom allocates more money for education, but instead of putting more money in Prop 98 and increasing the base of LCFF, if he's going to just continue the one-time money, which for a lot of us, it takes us back to categoricals, where we're told what to do with the money and how to spend it, instead of, and it goes directly and flies in the face of local control. So it's super frustrating. You can't use that money to really build new programs that have ongoing expenses. You can't use it for salaries to retain and attract teachers and employees. So it's a little frustrating. CSBA, of course, and Sandabs is really advocating to have more money put into the base of LCFF, because that will do the most good for education, but we'll see. So the hearings that they just had recently in the assembly and the budget committees, a lot of legislators were expressing kind of that education got a lot of money last year. You guys got a ton of money, billions of dollars, and some are not wanting to hear that we need more money because to them, you got a lot. You guys got a lot. I don't know what you're complaining about. You don't need more. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of feeling translates to the Senate and to the legislators in the negotiations between the January and May revise. What does that look like? How does that impact education dollars? So again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in January versus May, both with that surplus, but also with the negotiations and the haggling of programs. So just seeing that, be prepared for an interesting 6 months, 5 months, I'm sorry, and see where we're headed. But the feeling is that we're probably not going to get any ongoing money in the base, extra money in Prop 98. If we do get additional dollars, it will probably be one time, which is super frustrating. But there you go. That's my legislative update. Next month, get ready and hang on for some awesome bills. We'll see how that goes. See which controversies stir the pot next month.
Thank you, Cindy. Michelle, can you help us with a point of order? Because of the electronic things we're doing, there was a trustee comment for 11.3 that we didn't hear. Are we able to go back to that? It's the review of the governance calendar. Maybe we can put that on future agenda items so we don't go backwards and we keep things rolling along.
Yeah, or you could vote to go back, I think would be the only clean way to do it.
Taking a vote to go back to 11.
Is it, Natalie, can you clarify, is this just so that it's recorded?
No, there was a trustee who wanted to make a comment during 11.3, and because of technology, they weren't heard. They were there speaking and not being heard.
Is that me?
No.
Oh, sorry.
So I don't know if we want to go back to take a vote to go back to 11.3.
Okay,
or
I just make a motion to go back to 11.3 to allow the trustee who was accidentally left off the commentary to be able to make that comment, and then we move on.
Second the motion.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move, or I guess, shall we take a vote for all those who are interested in going back?
Take the voice vote.
The voice vote. Okay, so let's do it person by person in order of trustee area. I'd like to get your vote on a motion to move back to 11.3, review of the 2021 governance calendar, so the trustee that was attempting to speak can be heard on it.
Bill Mellinger, trustee area 1, aye.
Anna Redland, area 2, aye.
Cindy Gardner, trustee area 4, aye.
Cindy, your area 3, but that's okay.
Oh,
Natalie
sorry.
Lindemann, Natalie Lindemann, trustee area 4, aye. Now,
Someday I'm
going
going to
back-
get my area correct. I swear.
that's okay. So now going back to 11.3, review of the 2021 governance calendar, board of trustees. It was Ms. Ridland who was speaking but not heard.
Sorry about that, guys. Sorry to have us move backwards. And this could be, we could table this for further discussion, just that we have a bunch on our governance calendar, and I'm wondering if it might be an idea for us to consider items that might be able to come through to us as reports instead of board meeting. We did it with last meeting with the GAPE report. Instead, we're going to have that as part of our weekly reports. So wondering, looking at how jam-packed our governance calendar is, having us be able to consider if there's things that may be more time conservative in terms of being able to have reports that are sent through email instead.
Well, I think that the board president and I could work on that, and then we could bring it back to suggest what could be reports as an agenda item, and then you could have input.
That works for me.
I guess my only concern to that, Jordana, is that say like EL, the EL report, where we are, where Heather Dominguez brings the report of like what's happening with EL, reclassification rate and all that, and it's in the public, right? So part of this is it goes towards LCAP, these are components of LCAP, and if part of our board is educating our community about LCAP, about the pieces of why certain things are important, then I think that some of these, in having them just in the Friday updates, lose it's in the translation. Then the public is not hearing about our EL students, what we're doing for them, what we need to do in the future for them in terms of whether it's programs or materials or whatever that is in Heather's report. And so I'm concerned about some of these just becoming Friday updates.
Understand.
And I think that's understandable too. If one or two of them could be, I think it's worth Michelle and I just kind of digging through them a little bit and then bringing a recommendation back. And if the board agrees, great. And if they don't agree and they want them in reports during board meetings, then we can keep that.
I will say that I know our governance calendar is extensive. I have been going to board meetings for about half of my career now, and have never seen such a list of reports in any district that I've worked. It hasn't been a lot. There's only been 4 districts, but it's very, very extensive. I understand the reasons for the reports. So, I don't, narrowing them down, especially on the ones for ed services or combining them somehow to one report versus multiple reports may help Heather.
Well, the components to the LCAP, which is, specifically like the EL, we can't take LCAP off, but those components that are monitoring devices for LCAP, I would say need to stay, but things like maybe AVID report, maybe that can be in a Friday update. Do you understand my differentiation?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying, is that things that are monitoring devices for LCAP specifically to take us up to the LCAP discussion stay in open session. And then looking at those others that special education, I'm sorry, I think that needs to be a public thing just because of the scope of that particular student group. And I understand, Nellie, you guys can go through, but that's my recommendation, is just keeping those certain components in there, and then other components like AVID can be taken out as a report and given as GATE is given.
Understood. And
AVID could also be a part of the high school report.
Well,
go into the high school report.
Middle school and high school, yeah. So anyways, that's what I'm thinking, is just keeping those, definitely those educational monitoring LCAP-y kind of topics in open session, and then the other components that are as updates. That's my 2 cents as you guys get together.
Fair. Anything else for the governance calendar that we want to cover before we move back on?
Yes, I just want to make a correction on it should be 2022 governance calendar instead of 2021, just for the record.
Thank you. I read it 4 times and didn't catch on to that. All right, 11.5, Equity and Social Justice Committee Update Report. Trustee Millinger. Sorry, Bill.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, as you even heard earlier when you were listening to Zach's report, the principals have already met with Dr. White. I think we really made a good selection with choosing Dr. White as our consultant. She has a very systematic approach to looking at this. Her key word is unity and working towards unity across our district. She really understands our desire for us to listen to people and to set up as many listening opportunities as possible. With that in mind, we're already looking at how we do the English language learners and their families and the ELAC as it's referred to. We're also, in fact, we have put together, Michelle has put together an Excel spreadsheet in the drive so that, and we are inviting people to give us names of alumni, contact information for alumni, because we want to listen and get opportunities with them. Dr. White will set up probably some listening meetings with them that can be done by Zoom. Our actual first meeting of the subcommittee is going to be January 18th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. That will be the first of 5 this year: January, February, March, April, May, and each one will be on the third Tuesday of the month at 5:30. Which brings me then to the fact that we had a number of people that offered to serve on that committee. A lot of great people, and we had to bring that down to the positions that we had talked about as a board. And I'm trying to draw that back out. So we have an administrator, 2 students, 2 certified, a teacher from elementary, a teacher from secondary, a classified person, 2 from the community, an alumnus, and 2 board members, which you already know. And we wanted an elementary parent, a secondary parent, and of course the superintendent to be a part of that committee, that subcommittee. The notices are going out to the people that have been selected, but anyone who was not selected, we really want the word to get out there that you are still important. We need participation in the process. In fact, we need to continue to grow that participation as time goes on. Let's see if there's anything else that I wanted to share. And I think other than that, yeah, we're moving forward. And so one of those steps was, as I mentioned, was to start talking with the principals and get their insights, both on issues of concern and all. But I think we've really made a good choice with Dr. White, and I look forward to seeing how the subcommittee progresses. And board members, be aware, we will be asking for your participation in leading and guiding those listening sessions. It's one of the things that came out, and Dr. White understood this as well. We will clearly be having a Spanish speaking listening session where it's actually in Spanish. And then interpretation will go to those of us who need to listen from the subcommittee that maybe don't have the ability in Spanish language. So we will be doing all we can to listen well to the various constituents that are part of our community. Any questions?
Good job, Bill.
Thanks, Cindy. You're my partner.
Thank you both for your work on there. 12.2 or 12.0 action calendar. 12.1 superintendent approval of the California School Boards Association CSBA Delegate Assembly 2022 nominations. Fiscal impact none.
So to bring this to the floor, I make a motion that we do this. We need a second.
I second
Okay,
that.
I am muted. Did you get it, Jordana?
Second, I heard Jordana. So Cindy was the first, Jordana was the second.
Okay,
And
so here's
discussion.
what I'm proposing. There, CSBA sent out the delegate assembly nomination process and the link to where you go and all for the application. At the end of that application is the listing of all the delegates and when their seat is up. And so for our District 16 region, I have a couple people I would like to nominate, because we as a board can nominate people onto the Delegate Assembly for District 16, for Region 16. So I would like to nominate Christina Cameron Otero from Needles Unified School District. She's an amazing voice, really tiny area with really interesting challenges. James O'Neill from Redlands Unified School District, Wilson So, Apple Valley Unified School District, and I'm nominating Cindy Gardner from Rim of the World Unified School District because I would like to continue the work. So those 4 people out of the, I would like 4 people I would like to move to nominate to the Delegate Assembly.
Can I
Second.
get a second? Any further discussion on that?
Yeah, can you tell us who that Cindy Gardner one is?
She talks too much. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm pretty good. Yeah. The other thing is that what we're doing is after this, I need to have, I think now, I'm not sure if it's Natalie or the clerk sign the piece of paper, and then I'm gonna put forth the notification to Christina and James and Wilson that our board nominated them, so that if they're intending to apply to Delegate Assembly, they've been nominated, because you at least have to be nominated. Then everybody turns in their bio and their application by January 7th. And then we, the board, will get back the list of people that are applying, and that's when we elect. Okay? That's the process.
Gotcha. So the motion is currently to nominate Christina Cameron Ortolo, James O'Neill, Wilson So, and Cindy Gardner to the Delegate Assembly for 2022 California School Boards Association. And we're going to do votes based off of trustee area. Please call out your name and your vote.
Bill Mellinger, Trustee Area 1, aye.
Anna Ridlin, trustee area 2, aye.
Cindy Gardner, Trustee Area 3, aye.
Natalie Lindeman, Trustee Area 4, aye. That motion passes unanimously. 12.2, Personnel Services, approval of Associate Superintendent Personnel / People Services Contract, Fiscal Impact Budgeted.
So moved.
Bill? And a
Seconded.
second? Jordana. Pursuant to the Government Code Section 54943, Subdivision C3, the board provides this oral summary of the recommended salary and fringe benefits of the new Associate Superintendent Personnel Pupil Services position, Associate Superintendent Personnel and Pupil Services. The term of the new employment contract between Rim of the World Unified School District and Heather Griggs, Associate Superintendent Personnel Pupil Services, shall be from January 10th, 2022 through June 30th, 2024. The annual salary to be paid to Heather Griggs, Associate Superintendent Personnel and Pupil Services, shall be $146,823, which is step 2 on the salary schedule. Salary will be prorated based on days worked in the 2021 to 2022 school year. The Associate Superintendent shall be entitled to the health and welfare benefits afforded other management employees of the district. The district shall pay the Associate Superintendent's membership dues in ACSA, Association of California School Administrators, AASA, American Association of School Administrators, one service club, and one other professional organization. And it is now time for a welcome and discussion, potentially. Any discussion on this first? None. Let's call for the vote. And again, by trustee area and name.
Bill Mellinger, Trustee Area 1, I'm pleased to vote aye.
Anna Ridlin, trustee area 2, also pleased to vote aye.
Cindy Gardner, Big Yahoo, votes aye.
Natalie Lindeman, Trustee Area 4, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Welcome to the team. 12.3, Personnel Services, approval of the personnel page, fiscal impact budgeted. May I have a motion?
Cindy Gardner first.
Dana Ridland, seconded.
Any discussion? Calling for the vote.
Bill Mellinger, trustee area 1, aye.
Dana Ridland, trustee area 2, aye.
Cindy Gardner, trustee area 3, aye.
And Natalie Lindeman, trustee area 4, aye. 12.4, Personnel Services, approval of the personnel analyst / personnel administrative assistant job description, fiscal impact, none.
Natalie,
Yes.
Natalie, we'd like to stop at 12.3 and introduce Heather Griggs to the community. So I think
Okay,
Todd was gonna do that.
Please
Sure, no
do.
problem. Again, just thank you for the board for selecting Heather Griggs. She is definitely a fantastic selection. We went through the whole process with her. So we do want to give her just a minute or two if she can introduce herself. Oh, there you go. I'm looking for the little pictures. Introduce herself and just kind of let us know a little more about you.
Excuse me, I'm going to kindly ask that if you're not speaking, please mute yourself. We're getting feedback.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to come up to Rim of the World and meet more of the staff. I have to tell you, the interview process was definitely arduous, but it was gave me a good glimpse as to who you are at Rim, and I can't wait to become a part of it. Everyone was so incredibly friendly and just so positive about the district. Todd, hearing about you tonight, I think I have some bigger shoes to fill than I anticipated. So I'm excited to learn more, and my first visit will be Friday as Todd and I are going to be walking around the district, taking a look at some of our schools. So while I don't start till the middle of January, I'm excited to get started.
Thank you, Heather, and again, welcome to the team. 12.4, Personnel Services, approval of the personnel analyst / personnel administrative assistant job description, fiscal impact, none. Can I get a motion?
So
So
moved,
moved.
Cindy Gardner.
Cindy Gardner first and Bill Mullinger second. Any discussion? Calling for the vote in order of trustee area.
Bill Mellinger, trustee area 1, again, oh, welcome, aye.
Dana Ridland, trustee area 2, aye.
Cindy Gardner, trustee area 3, aye.
Natalie Lindeman, trustee area 4, aye. The motion passes unanimously.
And if I could just make a side note, this is not a new position in the district. This is just a revision of the job description, just in term, and that would have been under discussion, but just wanted to get that
Yeah,
confirmation.
That's under discussion, Jordana, sorry.
I know, but there, yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
And are we going to introduce the person?
It's just a change in job description. It's Morgan Haley, my administrative assistant. We're changing his job description.
Okay. 12.5, Personnel Services, approval of the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between Rim of the World Unified School District and Rim Teachers Association, RTA, to revise and accept the teacher job description, fiscal impact, none. May I have a motion?
So moved. Bill Mellinger, trustee area 1.
I'm seconding it. Dana Ridland, area 2.
Bill and Dana, any discussion?
Just want to thank everybody who worked on this. I know it was long and many years worth of work to put into that. So thank you for diligence and keeping at it.
I agree. Thank you for what you've done and putting those details in that.
Calling for the vote?
Bill Mellinger, trustee area 1, aye.
Dana Ridland, trustee area 2, aye.
Cindy Gardner, trustee area 3, aye.
Natalie Lindeman, trustee area 4, aye. The motion passes unanimously. 12.6, Educational Services, approval of the K-12 summer school dates for 2022, fiscal impact to be determined. May I have a motion?
Cindy Gardner first.
Dana Ridland, second.
Any discussion? Calling for the vote?
Bill Mellinger, Trustee Area 1, aye.
Dana Ridlin, trustee area 2, aye.
Cindy Gardner, trustee area 3, aye.
Natalie Lindeman, trustee area 4, aye. The motion passes unanimously. 12.7, educational services. Approval to adopt the plan for the expenditure of funds for the educator effectiveness of block grant fiscal impact. None. May I have a motion?
Cindy Gardner first.
Bill Mellinger, second.
Any discussion? Sorry, I'm coughing.
Nope, I just want to thank Heather Dominguez because she's and Jenny Haberland and all the people that had to work on this plan. Of the 1 million plans that now have to be done for all that ESSER and expanded learning grant and everything else. It's like, thank you.
And calling for the vote.
Bill Mellinger, Trustee Area 1, aye.
Dana Ridlin, trustee area 2, aye.
Cindy Gardner, trustee area 3, aye.
Natalie Lindeman, trustee area 4, aye. The motion passes unanimously. 12.8, business services. Approval of the 2021 through 2022 first interim financial report and certification of the district's financial position, fiscal impact. None. May I have a motion?
Cindy Gardner
Mellinger.
first.
I have Cindy Gardner first and Bill Millinger second. Any discussion?
Thanks, Jenny and her whole department for another well done job. Woo! Round of applause.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah, we really are in, at the moment, a good financial position. Jenny keeps us aware of what's coming down the road, which is a big concern for us. But Jenny, thank you to, again, a positive audit review there. Thank you so much. Good job.
Calling for the vote.
Bill Mellinger, Trustee Area 1, aye.
Dana Ridlin, trustee area 2, aye.
Cindy Gardner, trustee area 3, aye.
Natalie Lindeman, trustee area 4, aye. Motion passes unanimously. 12.9, business services. Approval of resolution number 21-/22-05 to declare property known as the district office located at 27315 North Bay Road is exempt surplus land under the California Surplus Land Act. Fiscal impact. None. May I have a motion?
Cindy Gardner first.
Dana Ridlin, second.
Any discussion?
I would like to have just a explanation for this, if you wouldn't mind, Jenny.
Thank you. So as you know, when a district or a public entity surpluses land, we have to go through a notification process with certain governmental agencies who would have rights to have priority in negotiating with us to purchase it. It doesn't mean someone gets it for free, but they would just have rights above a private party for the property. And so when we first surplus the district office land, we went through the notification process. So it takes about 60 to 90 days because we notify everyone from hospitals to county offices to cities to Parks and Rec to homeless coalitions to different state agencies. And if no one expresses interest, then we can move forward and either put the property up for sale like we did with a broker, or we can put it up for a public bid. And we got the waiver from the state and we put it up for sale with a broker. So last year there was, this past year, but it was retroactive, there was a new law that we had to do a final step on just certifying with the Housing and Community Development Department that it is exempt and that we followed all of our notification processes. So it's just, they've already given us preliminary approval, and it's at this point declaring that we've gone through the proper steps by Ed Code and Government Code to sell the property.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Calling for the vote.
Bill Mellinger, trustee area 1, aye.
Dana Ridlin, trustee area 2, aye.
Cindy Gardner, trustee area 3, aye.
Natalie Lindeman, trustee area 4, aye. The motion passes unanimously. 13.0 consent calendar items pulled for separate vote and discussion to be taken into consideration during agenda item 14.0. Does anybody have any items that they would like removed or pulled?
So then you just read the numbers, Nat.
Okay, so bear with me, my screen jumped all over the place now.
That's okay.
So 13.1, 13.2, 13.3, 13.4, 13.5, 13.6, 13.7, 13.8. May I have a motion?
Cindy Gardner is first.
Dana Ridlin is second.
Any discussion?
Well, I like the fact that we're doing some things to support the wrestling program. One more step that we value the sports program. I also am really pleased that we're taking more steps to develop the wellness center. So some good things that are on this list.
Calling for the vote.
Bill Mellinger, trustee area 1, aye.
Dana Ridlin, trustee area 2, aye.
Cindy Gardner, trustee area 3, aye.
Natalie Lindeman, trustee area 4, aye. Motions passed unanimously. 15.0 governance team future agenda items and planning. 15.1 time allotted for the Board of Trustees to request agenda items for future meetings. Are there any requests?
I don't have a request. All I need is if the board goals with the success indicators can be emailed out to us. We're going to be touching base with board goals, but I didn't ever see, and maybe that's my fault, the actual board goals with the developed success indicators. So if that could just be emailed out to us, that would be great.
I don't think that the board completed those success indicators. Connie, can you verify that?
They have not been completed.
Okay, so who wants to volunteer to do that? Because we have self-board evaluation on, what is it? That we take the survey in April, right, Connie? The board, so
Right.
we need something to evaluate ourselves against. So I know
Do you know who was working on it prior, Jordana?
Jordana and Jordan, was that the two of you?
It was Natalie and Jordan.
Oh, Natalie and Jordan. Okay.
It's something that I can take on if you guys wish. Yeah.
Do you
Would
want to?
appreciate that, Jordana.
Jordana,
was
do
that?
you and I want to do it? We've done it before. You and I
Yes.
did it before, and we did it super easily.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
You're both rock stars.
Mama.
Thank you. Anything
welcome.
else for agenda items? 16.0 future meeting dates pending board approval. Regular board workshop, January 6, 2022 at 4 p.m. Location to be determined. Regular board meeting, January 20th, 2022 at 5 p.m. Location to be determined. Per California state mandate, masks are required to be worn properly by fully covering your nose and mouth on all K-12 campuses while indoors. 17.0 recess to closed session, which is necessary. The Board of Trustees are hereby recessed to closed session at 7:27 p.m. We will return when we are done.